Shanti. Before I hand over to Pankaj Sancheti for further proceedings, who is there with Bhupal Reddy sir, assisting him in all our presentations. I would like to say few facts regarding Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. This act contains 12 sections. It is not a lengthy act, and the intention was that there was nearly 9.32 lakh crores of demand is disputed, and 4.83 lakh cases were pending. So government wanted to reduce these litigations and mop up revenues by settling the disputes. With this background, this scheme was introduced, and I think it is a good opportunity, as disputes are there since so many years, to pay taxes and clean it. Their profile, I can say, they can clear it. So it is a very good opportunity. We should avail. Few confusions have arisen subsequently during lockdown period when announcement made that this scheme is extended up to December. So people were apprehensive for when the amount is to be paid for those who have already filed, whether scheme is open up to December. If it is open up to December, when payment can be made, whether payment can be made after December also. Like this, few confusions were there. So it is really a good opportunity for us to understand all these intricacies. With this, I welcome once again Sri Bhupal Reddy Garu. Sir, thank you very much for your kind consent. Now over to Pankaj. I request him to formally introduce Sri Bhupal Reddy Garu, then continue with the proceedings. Over to Pankaj.
A very good morning to everyone. Sir, Ramdev sir, is my voice audible?
Just want audible.
Okay, thank you so much. A very good morning to everyone. It's a very pleasant weather. So happy to be here at the Income Tax Office on this pleasant morning. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Mr. Mora Bhupal Reddy, Principal Commissioner of Income Tax, Range 3 of Hyderabad. Mr. Bhupal Reddy sir is from Narasorapet, Guntur district, and has done his masters in the field of political sciences. He started his career in 1987 as Inspector of Central Excise in Vizag. In 1988, he was Municipal Commissioner APPSC, and in 1988 itself he qualified and joined the IRS. In my very limited interaction with Mr. Bhupal Reddy sir, I find him very humble and soft-spoken, a quality which is so rare to find these days. He's a man of varied interest, and he is also the honorary president of the Mahatma Gandhi Charitable Trust, Hyderabad, which constructs and manages the Mahatma Gandhi Mandir and Mahatma Gandhi Meditation Center, built in an area of 4 acres as a center of unity for all religions, where holy mitti from 30 pilgrim places all over India is collected and kept for visitors. A collection of books of Mahatma Gandhi is also kept there. So, sir, I would also request you to just speak 2 minutes about this thing also, because this is something there in Hyderabad, and I myself, who is born and brought up, doesn't know. So many of us would not be knowing it. So I would request you to speak 2 minutes on this interesting place also. Where it is also, I don't know. So with this brief introduction, I would the presentation to Bhupal Reddy sir, who is with me. I'll adjust the screen and give it to him. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Not audible.
Yes, you are
Am
audible.
I audible? Hello.
Audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Right.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, Mr. Ramdev. Good morning, Mr.
Morning,
Ritesh.
sir.
Good morning, Mr. Pankaj, and other members of Tax Bar Association. Good morning to all of you. Especially today, the 24th of July 2020 is the income tax day, 160th income tax day.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. On this day, I congratulate and greet the income tax lawmakers, the tax administrators, the tax practitioners, and the most important, taxpayers or the assessees we call. Friends, this morning once I started to my office, after coming onto the road, the first board I could see on the road is your tax rupees at work. A flyover is being made, in that they have put these boards, your tax rupees at work. This made me proud enough because I am one of the tax administrators who collect revenue for the government, which in turn utilizes these funds for the benefit of the society at large. A positive note early in the morning makes us optimistic and makes the entire day bright and shiny. I think most of you also would have seen these boards wherever we go in the city of Hyderabad or Vijayawada or Visakhapatnam, whichever city we come from. I think we can see these boards and we can feel proud of it. Friends, it's only which side of the table we sit. As tax administrators, we sit on one side of the table, and you, the tax practitioners or tax firm members, you sit on the other side of the table. But the aim of both of us is only tax collection. When both of us are paid out of the taxes that are collected from the people at large, and the income tax is specific.
Hello.
Hello. You.
Not audible, please.
No. I was doubting whether I am audible or not. That's why I have given a small gap, small pause. Now, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So once again, the 160th Income Tax Day greetings to all of you. On this occasion, I would like to say a little about how the different schemes of or how the different sections are being are introduced into the Income Tax Act. As all of us are aware, the pre-budget exercise, which involves the interactive sessions with the tax bar, with the chambers of commerce, with the different trade associations, and the pre-budget exercises are being codified. There is one section in our top body, that is CBDT, is called TPL division, Tax Planning and Legislation. They codify all the sessions of all these bodies which have been consulted before introducing any scheme, and they burn the midnight oil and bring out different schemes like Vivad Se Vishwas scheme or whatever, different schemes that have been introduced over the years. Now, why this is the 160th day of Income Tax Day? Income tax in India was introduced in the year 1860 on this 24th of July by James Wilson, who was the finance member of the Council of India. As we all know, there are income tax, especially, or the taxation in particular, is related to two wars of independence. One is the 1857 First War of Independence, First Indian War of Independence, because of which the East India Company, which was managing the political and finance affairs of British India, gave way to the British Parliament or the British Queen to reign over India. Hope I am audible now?
Yes, sir.
So, to compensate the losses they suffered in the First War of Independence, the British government started levying of income tax in India from the 24th of 7, 1860. Now it is 160 years are over. Till the independence, the agriculture income was being taxed, be it 1/4 of the produce or 1/6 of the produce, whatever may be the share, depending on the different kings or different times. But from the day of independence, the agriculture income tax has been scrapped, and the 70% of the population, especially the agriculturists who are dependent on agriculture, have been saved from these income tax. And the taxes are mainly on the non-agricultural income. So once I talk that first Indian War of Independence, which is significant, one more War of Independence is there, that is the American War of Independence, which had the slogan, "No representation without taxation." This is also one of the important things in the taxation, that is especially income tax or whatever the taxation, different taxes, in the history of that. So these two relate to the modern India or modern world and the taxation pattern. But if we go back to 2500 years back, Arthashastra written by Kautilya or Chanakya, this is the origin of the taxation in India. The first chapter of Arthashastra, which says Kosh Mulo Dand, revenue is the backbone of administration. It vividly describes about how the pattern of taxation should be. The main points in that is taxation not to be the burden, collection not to be painful, people to pay as if it is a religious obligation, and officers or the tax collectors to be dedicated and professional. And the oft-quoted saying of Arthashastra, government should collect taxes like a honeybee which sucks just the right amount of honey from the flowers without causing harm to them. See, the age-old adage of Arthashastra is valid till date even after 2500 years. So friends, with this brief introduction about taxation, right from ancient times to the modern times, now I'll just come back. In the year 1860, when the taxation started, the collection of direct taxes was just 13 lakhs only, which has come up to 12.34 lakh crores in the financial year 2019-20. Statistics. I'm audible, no? Yeah. Coming to the charge of AP and TS, the budget collections in the early financial year 1920 was rupees 57,000 crores. I'm taking the round sum figure, and the number of returns filed in income tax were 44.79 lakhs. So these are the figures of income tax for the 1920. So friends, the general things are over. Now, let us come to the specific topic, that is Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. The objectives of the scheme. Now, the total pending appeals before various appellate forums as on 30th of November 2019 was 4,83,000, and the amount involved in the said appeals was 9.3 lakh crores. To reduce this pending income tax litigations before various appellate authorities, be it CET appeals or ITAT or High Court or the Supreme Court, and to generate timely revenue for the government and benefit the taxpayers by providing them peace of mind, certainty, and savings on account of time and resources that would otherwise be spent on long drawn and vexatious litigation process. Once I mentioned about the objectives, this is an occasion for me to also refer to various other schemes which have been introduced by the Income Tax Department over the years. The first one after independence was 1951 VDS Tyagi scheme. This scheme was introduced in the name of Mr. Mahavir Tyagi, the then finance minister. Then 1965, the block voluntary disclosure scheme, which was also called 60/40 scheme. So whatever amount that was disclosed, 60% was to be paid as tax. Then comes 1975 voluntary disclosure scheme. Then 1985 amnesty scheme. Then 1987 voluntary disclosure of income scheme. Then 1998 Kar Vivad Samadhan. 2016 is the income disclosure scheme or the IDS. 2016 is the direct tax dispute resolution scheme and the PMGKY, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. And now we are in 2020, wherein we have this Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. Friends, as you can see in the PPT, the three schemes which deal with the dispute resolutions have been highlighted. 1998 Kar Vivad Samadhan, 2016 direct tax dispute resolution scheme, and 2020 Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. All others relate to income or wealth disclosure, but these three relate to the dispute resolutions. Now, a little comparison between the Kar Vivad Samadhan scheme of 1998 and the present Vivad Se Viswas scheme. See, KVSS for the creation of Finance Bill 1998 followed by Circular 772 dated 13/12/1998. Whereas Vivad Se Viswas scheme, it is to the Gazette notification dated 17/3/2020 followed by CBT notification which speaks about the rules dated 18/3/2020. Maybe this is one of the rarest schemes which did not form part of the finance bill but has been brought out separately as the necessity arose. When the KVSS covered income tax, wealth tax, interest tax, like the different allied taxes also, the VSV scheme covers only income tax. And then in the KVSS, the disputed tax meant only the tax which remained unpaid. But here, VSV scheme, in this scheme, disputed tax includes even the tax already paid. Thereby, it shows that even if excess is paid, the same will be refunded as per the scheme. Now, we will say what are the eligible cases under this scheme. The precondition is appeal should be pending as on 31/01/2020. See, on this, I expect questions also once my presentation is over. What is an appeal? What should be pending? And whether if it is delay, what should be done? Whether delay is condoned or not, all these things. I expect questions from the participants at the end of my session. Next, all appeals pending before CED appeals are ITAT, High Court or Supreme Court. Then writ petitions before High Court or Supreme Court. And SLPs pending before Supreme Court. Then cases where the orders have been passed but the time limit for filing appeal under Income Tax Act against the order has not expired as on the specified date are also covered. In this case, the specified date is 31st of January 2020. Cases where, that is DRP cases, where objections filed by the SC against a draft order are pending before DRP, or where DRP has given the directions to the assessing officer, but the assessing officer has not yet passed the final order on or before the specified date. Then cases where revision applications under 264 are pending before the PCAT or the CAT concerned. Then the case of arbitration, where a declaration has been initiated or any notice for arbitration or conciliation or mediation as referred to in section 4 of the bill. Friends, below each and every important point, I have also given the question and answer reference which has been notified by the CBDT on 22nd of April 2020. Then regarding prosecution, where only notice of initiation of prosecution has been issued without prosecution being instituted. So only the initial stage only one can opt for this scheme. But once the prosecution's proceedings have been instituted, the assessee cannot opt for this scheme. Then cases where appeal has been filed against interest levied on assessed tax. However, there is no dispute against the amount of assessed tax. So there should not be dispute against the assessed tax, but only the dispute should relate to the interest levied. Then the case of set aside. If an appellate authority has set aside an order to the file of AO, that is also eligible for this scheme, but with an exception where the assessment is cancelled with the direction that assessment is to be framed de novo. Then where the cases where there is no disputed tax, but where disputed penalty is existing. Next comes, if the due date for filing appeal is after 31/1/2020 and the appeal has not been filed, in such cases, it's already covered, I think it's a repetition. It's a repetition, I think. Then appeal filed before High Court is pending for admission as on 31/1/2020. Especially this is on this issue also, I invite discussion from the participants. The difference between the appeal filed and the writ filed, which is eligible and which is not eligible, and for what reasons. We can have interaction between the participants and me on this issue. Then substantive additions and protective additions. Then advance authority ruling, AAR cases, where the order is passed by AAR and it has determined the total income of an assessment year, and the writ against such order is pending in High Court. Then search and seizure cases. Cases where the tax arrears relate to an assessment made on 143(3) or 144 on 153A or 153C of the Income Tax Act on the basis of a search initiated under section 132 or 132A, that is cash seizure, and where the disputed tax, here that limitation is there, up to 5 crores for each assessment year. So here it is rupees 5 crores for each assessment year. And the question and answer session, and that the question and answers notified by the board, it is the question number 6. On this aspect also, some sections are missing. If you can observe the block assessment and how to deal with the appeals relating to block assessment. On that also we can have some discussion once this presentation is over. The assessments made on 158 BC, BD, right? Then DRP cases. A person who has filed his objections before the DRP under section 144C of the Income Tax Act, and the DRP has not issued any direction on or before the specified date, as well as a person in whose case the DRP has issued directions, but the AO has not passed the final assessment order on or before the specified date. They are also eligible under this scheme. Then a notice of enhancement by the seat appeals. Even those cases where the seat appeals has issued enhancement notice on or before 31/1/2020, they are also covered under the scheme. But here the problem is the disputed tax in such cases shall be increased by the amount of tax pertaining to those issues for which notice of enhancement has been issued. And then multiple appeals for the same assessment year. Cases where assessment order 143(3) of the Act was passed in case of an assessee for an assessment year, and a said order is pending with IT-80, and subsequently another under 147 or 143(3) was passed for the same assessment year, and that is pending before seat appeals. Then the appellant has an option to settle either of the two appeals or both appeals for the same assessment year. So friends, this in broad I have covered the eligible cases for Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. Now the ineligible cases, and point wise let us deal with these also. cases of, before that, friends, let me, actually there were some seminars conducted by the tax bar and Institute of Chartered Accountants in the month of, once the lockdown started from 22nd of March, I think. Most of the points which were raised by the speakers in those seminars or in those webinars have been covered in this question and answers, which have been notified by the board on 22nd of April 2020. Next, now we are coming to the ineligible cases. Cases of undisclosed foreign income, where the disputed tax relates to exclusively to undisclosed foreign income, or it includes foreign income, or relates to foreign assets. Then settlement of part of pending disputes for an assessment year. There is no provision under the scheme to settle part of a pending dispute in relation to an appeal or writ or SLP for an assessment year. This goes to say that if there are 2 or 3 additions for any assessment year, the assessee has to opt for all the issues, be it the appeal of the assessee or the appeal of the revenue. He cannot say that for one addition I will opt for the scheme, and for the other additions I will not opt for the scheme. Next, writ against notice under section 148. If a writ has been filed against a notice issued under section 148 of the Act and no assessment order has been passed consequent to that 148 notice, the assessee would not be eligible for the scheme. The reason is also mentioned there itself, because there is no determination of the income in this particular case. Cases of waiver petitions. In respect of interest under section 234A, 234B and 234C, where there is no appeal, but the assessee has filed waiver application before the competent authority, which is pending as 31/1/2020, such cases are not covered under the scheme, since waiver applications are not appeals within the meaning of the scheme. Then disputes relating to wealth tax, security, that is STT, security transaction tax, commodity transaction tax, equalization levy, etc. are also not covered by this Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. Next one, pendency of writ for admission. For a writ filed either in High Court or Supreme Court to be eligible, it should have been admitted and pending. This is not the question and answer session, but I have drawn from some of the case laws which relate to Kar Vivad Samadhan scheme. Friends, we have covered initially the eligible cases, then we have covered the ineligible cases. Now we will go to the amounts payable under the scheme. One is up to 31/12/2020, then after that, that is after 31/12, that is from the 1st of January 21. As you can see from this, there is a 10% extra which the assessee has to pay if the payment is not made before that, as on 31/12/2020, be it a disputed tax or in non-such cases or such cases, or the penalty or interest or fee, whatever, be it 100% or 125% or 25%. The 100% which goes to 10%, 125 becomes 135, and 25% goes to 25% goes to increases to 30%. Then the waiver or the relief comes down if the tax payment is made belatedly. Here I have covered the appeals filed by the SC, then the appeals filed by the department. Here also it is the rates have come down from 100 to 50%, from 125 to 62.5%, from 25 to 12.5%. But if the payments are made belatedly, 50 becomes 55, 62.5 becomes to 67.5, and 12.5 becomes to 15%. Payment of taxes. The scheme can be availed by the appellant irrespective of whether the tax arrears have been paid either partly or fully or are outstanding. This I think I have dealt in the earlier slides, where I made the difference between, brought up the difference between Kar Vivad Samadhan scheme and the present Vivad Se Viswas scheme. Refunds. If the amount of tax paid is more than the amount payable under the scheme, the appellant will be entitled to refund, but without interest under Section 244A of Income Tax Act 1961. This was not available in the earlier schemes. Then not eligibility. Not eligible. If the taxes are paid after availing the benefits of the scheme, and later the taxpayer decides to take refund of these amounts of these taxes paid. So if you had paid any taxes before the commencement of the scheme, if they are in excess, you will get the refund. But after availing the scheme, if whatever the taxes you pay, the same are not to be refunded. Then I come to the procedural issues. Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, which I think all of you are quite aware of that, which you have to file Form 1 and 2. Initially, that is stage 1. Then Form 3, which is issued by the designated authority, be it the commissioner or the principal commissioner, which determines the amount payable by the declarant within 15 days of the date of receipt of declaration, and whereby a certificate intimating the amount payable is also issued. Then after the issuing of that, the declarant shall withdraw the appeal pending before the appellate forum, and then the declarant shall pay the amount so determined within 15 days from the receipt of the certificate, that is in Form 4, and intimate those details of such payment to the designated authority. Then Form number 5. After receipt of these intimations, the designated authority, be it PCAT or the CAT, shall pass an order stating that the declarant has paid the amount. In this, if there are any mistakes in the calculation, if there are calculation mistakes, they can be rectified by the designated authority once they are brought to the notice of the designated authority by the assessee or the representative. Where the tax determined by the designated authority is not acceptable, no appeal can be filed against such order. Department will withdraw in the cases of department appeal or the writ petitions or the SLPs after the appellant pays the amount. If the declaration is filed and taxes are not paid, the applications will become void. Again, there is reference about Form 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. With more details, which I'm skipping them. Then some of the consequential issues I have dealt with in brief. It has been clarified that making a declaration under this Act shall not amount to conceding the tax position, and it shall not be lawful for the income tax authorities or the declarant, that is the assessee, to contend that the declarant or the income tax authority.
Hello, not audible. Hello.
Hello? Hello, now can you listen to, can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So consequential issues, it has been clarified that making a declaration under this act shall not amount to conceding the tax position, and it shall not be lawful either for the income tax authorities or
Not
the
audible,
declarant.
please.
For you, it is not audible.
It is okay,
Audible.
sir.
Please
Audible.
check your device.
Maybe some people
It is
ask.
audible. It is very much clearly audible. Please check your device.
It is audible to us.
Okay, right, I'm proceeding then. So it shall not be lawful for the income tax authorities or the declarant to contend that the declarant or the income tax authority, either of them, as the case may be, has acquiesced in the decision on the disputed issues by settling the
Now, do you suggest us to purchase a iPhone?
A friend, from this side I cannot because my system is okay, and some of the participants, they have responded that it is audible.
Sir, it is very much. Sir, it is very much. Chiranjeevi, everybody is able to hear. It is your audio problem. You say, rectify at your end. Don't disturb the meeting because everybody is able to hear except you.
Thank you, sir. Proceed, sir. Please proceed, sir.
रामदेव जी सर को अनम्यूट करो बोलो ना सीसी सर को
Sir, unmute yourself,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. In a case where the dispute in relation to an assessment year relates to reduction of MAT credit or reduction of loss or depreciation, the appellant shall leave an option either to include the amount of tax related to such MAT credit or loss or depreciation in the amount of disputed tax and carry forward the MAT credit or loss or depreciation, or to carry forward the reduced tax credit or loss or depreciation. Friends, this aspect is not so clear. That is why the CBDT is yet to prescribe the manner of calculation in such cases. This is also mentioned in the question and answers number 53 of circular number 9 of 2020 dated 22nd April 2020. Once the manner of calculation is prescribed, we can discuss more on this issue. Now friends, because of this COVID situation, as you all know, the due date for availing the scheme has been extended up to 30th of December 2020 without paying any penalty, that is the 10% or 5% extra. And this also has come through the Gazette notification, which is recent one, the 24th of June 2020. In the last para of it, the same has been mentioned. By its circular number 9 of 2020, the CBDT has given the detailed clarifications, and for exhaustive study, the circular may be referred to. And the disclaimer is from my part. The views expressed in this presentation reflect the personal views of the presenter and in no way can be taken as the opinion of the department. And in case of any further clarification and authenticity, the reference may be made to the Gazette notification and the question and answer issued by the department. Jai Hind. And my presentation part, I put a temporary pause or semicolon for my presentation. Now we will, because as we started earlier, this is an interactive session. and now we'll discuss various issues from your side and from our side. From both, we'll have a discussion. Now we can unmute. Now we can start this question and answer session. Again, I'm telling this is an interactive session. It is not you are not here to question this thing, or I am not here to question your knowledge. But let us interact and arrive at a better solution through which we can facilitate the assessees to avail the scheme. We are sitting at the two sides of the table only to facilitate the assessees for proper settlement of disputes. So keeping this in view, friends, I invite the questions from the audience.
I request all the friends to put their questions in the chat box. Pankaj Sancheti is there. He will take one after other. Along with Bhupal Reddy sir, he is sitting there. Sir, to begin with, one clarification, if possible, kindly give to us. This scheme is extended up to 31st December 2020. And also it is suggested that payment shall be made by 31st December 2020. Suppose if a person files on 18th or 20th December.
रामदेव जी.
Yeah.
पावर कट हुआ कहते हैं, स्टकअप हो गया. 1 मिनट टाइरो.
सर पंकज जी सर.
हाँ.
Okay, Pankaj.
Yes sir. Sir, just give us 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, it will be back in few minutes.
रामदेव जी.
Yeah, Samba.
हाँ, एक सिस्टम में आप साउंड म्यूट कर दो ना, नहीं तो रीसाउंड एको आ रहा. आप मोबाइल में भी होंगे, आप साउंड लेफ्ट हैंड साइड बटन रहता देखो, साउंड कम कर दो, लेफ्ट हैंड बटन.
हो गया ना?
हाँ, थैंक यू.
Thank you to you for reminding.
Sir, we can take it from this. Sir, Pankaj here, sir. Sir, it's taking just 2-3 minutes. So if my voice is audible.
Yes, your voice is audible, Pankaj.
Okay, sir. So the question is from Mr. Sarang Shah. The question is, sir, they have filed for an application but not received the certificate till now. The application was filed in April. If the same can be expedited, can some taxes be paid? As the taxpayer has set aside the required amount for payment of taxes. If time passes and the amounts are otherwise used up due to the difficult times we are seeing, there may be a request for time for payment after 31st December. So the certificate, they are awaiting the certificate.
Friends, because all the time limits have been extended and because of the COVID situation, many of the offices are not functioning. There may be delay in that. But if it is specific, then we will inform the concerned PCAT to issue the certificate immediately, because the department also is in need of the funds. Right? Hope I am clear.
Yes.
Hello.
So the taxpayer has to get in touch with the principal secretary. So the suggestion is that if someone wants a quick certificate, because the time is there till December, that's the reason the tax office has not been issuing the certificates immediately, because once the certificate is issued, as per the rules, the tax has to be paid within 15 days. But Mr. Sarang Shah's problem is different. He feels that the taxpayer may use the money somewhere else, and then he may require more time. So in that case, you'll have to get in touch with the principal commissioner, respective principal commissioner, for immediate issue of the certificate. Yeah. So there is a question from Mr. Gangadhar Gunda. His question is, sir, the appeal was filed under 143.3. The appeal was filed against the order of 143.3 of the officer. It was filed before January, but there was an error in the order passed, and a 154 application was made, which was passed. Order was passed again in March 2020. So
while filing the declaration, what is the dispute amount? Should it be as per the 143.3 order, or it should be as per the 154 order?
This issue has been dealt in question number 25 of the question and answers issued by CBDT. I'll just read out the answer. The rectification order passed by the AO may have an impact on determination of the disputed tax if there is reduction or increase in the income and the tax liability of the assessee as a result of rectification. The disputed tax in such cases would be calculated after giving effect to the rectification order passed, if any. This is again, I'm telling, question number 25. Please note question number 25.
So this is a question from Mr. Rao. The appeal is filed after 30th January, and it's not known, so it's a delayed filing of an appeal, and it's not known whether the CIT appeal has condoned the delay or not, whether it can be considered as eligible for Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. So the appeal has been filed beyond the 30 days time period with the condonation.
Friend, it says appeal should be pending as on the specified date, that is 31st of January 2020. In this regard, my personal view is that a valid appeal is to be filed and pending as on that date. There are different views on that, especially when we make a reference to the earlier scheme of Kar Vibhav Samadhan scheme. In that scheme also there were some disputes like this arose, and then the same were referred, or the matters went up to the High Court. I will give some references of these court. So one view is that the valid appeal should be pending. You can note down the case law. Sri Amarlal Kirana Stores versus CIT. Sri Amarlal Kirana Stores versus CIT, 267 ITR 48 or 138 Taxman 263, Madhya Pradesh High Court, where the gist of it says that where appeal filed by the SC before tribunal was not an admitted appeal on the date of submission of the declaration, but it was only a pending appeal, it warrants rejection. So this case law says that the appeal should be there as on the specified date, that is 31st of January 2020. But it should also be a valid appeal. Then there is one more case law. Please note down. Better Label Manufacturing Company Limited. This relates to the customs, not the income tax, but similar scheme, KVSS only for them. The citation is 219 CTR 205, Madras High Court. 219 CTR 205, Madras High Court, where it says, for the purpose of admissibility of a declaration under the KVSS, it is enough that an appeal is pending, even if it is irregular or incomplete. So friends, the main thing that is there, what is needed is, as on 31-1, there should be an appeal. And if it is filed belatedly, your request for condonation, first of all, should be in your favor. That is, the seat appeals or the ITAT should condone the delay. Even then, whether it is valid or not, that you can make a representation before the designated authority, that is the concerned CAT or principal CAT, and let that designated authority decide based on the position. And meanwhile, a reference also can be made to the higher authorities within the department. Thank you.
Pankaj, take up the next question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a question from Mr. PK Singh. This one.
There is the same issue of inclusion and protective assessment. The scheme is also the appeal in the same case. SSC want to opt for the last case for HUF case. The problem is inclusion case complete set aside. What to do in this case? The case SSC has to this is double addition.
Friends, this is covered in question number 35 of the circular issued by the department. I will just read out. If the substantive addition is eligible to be covered under the scheme, then on settlement of dispute related to substantive addition, the AO shall pass the rectification order deleting the protective addition relating to the same issue in the case of the SSC or in the case of another SSC. So the one which is to be settled is the substantive addition, and the demand automatically will go in the case of the protective addition.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
क्वेश्चन पढ़ो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन प्लीज. Pankaj, please go through question so that it is audible to all.
Year 12-13.
Section 69. Tax liability under section 1 higher rate of 70%. So he was introduced from assessment to 73. This tax number should have been done in normal way. And application under 154 and
So in this case also the AO should pass an order immediately, and the SSC can avail the scheme, and the demand as per the rectified order, the SC has to pay. Whichever is rectifiable, AO can do it immediately, and then it can be done. The SSC can avail the scheme.
So there has been one CBDT notification also very recently, which CBDT has instructed officers to pass on 50 over orders by 31st August. So that will help. So this is a question which is quite a practical question. Can we file an application for a second time for the same assessment year after the time for payment of the first is expired? Because if you don't pay within the 15 days, whatever this application is void. So it has become void because tax is not paid in time, within 15 days, so certain applications are made again.
Friends, there is no official clarification on this, but my personal view is that the SC can again file application. Because the initial application, because of non-payment of taxes, becomes void or not filed at all. So assessee can still file an application once again for the same assessment year.
So there's one extension of that. The no order has been served physically on the SSC, and the appeal has been filed against the order on 1st February, mainly due to the AR being busy with GST still 31st January. And the thinking that the time is available as orders were not served physically. We have filed the appeal on 1st February. Appeal has been filed requesting for consideration of delay, if any. So there was a miscommunication. I think the order was not received on the time, the CA was busy. There's a similar question to
Friends, serving of the notice physically is not necessary. Different modes of service of assessment order have been mentioned in the Act. That is through email or email account or whatever. So whichever may be whichever is the valid mode of service of notice, the notice has been served on the assessee. The date for filing of the last date for filing of the appeal starts from that date. So let the assessee check in this case what was the date on which the assessment order was served onto the assessee through email or through email account through ITBA. If that is there, he should have filed this Vivasay Viswas scheme application by 31/1/2020. But now he has filed the appeal with the state appeals after that date. So he can make a request to state appeals for continuation of delay. That is the first part. But that continuation of delay will not mandate the designated authority to consider favorably the application under Vivasay Viswas scheme. From the tax bar, I also request Bhutadas to make a request to the CBDT to codify such things which are not clarified in question and answers which have been notified on 22nd of April, and forward to the board for a clarification on these issues also, so that because the main aim of the scheme is the resolution of the disputes. If somebody by mistake of an auditor or by mistake or by negligence is unable to file appeal within the due date, and if that delay is condoned, all such cases can be clarified by the board, so that all the designated authorities all over India can follow it without any hesitation, and one need not go to the High Court or so for admission of these cases.
Sure.
So what do you say, sir? Bhutadas sir, what do you say?
Sure. We'll represent, sir. Already we have given our submissions. I think you remember we have attended one meeting in IT Towers along with Principal CCIT.
Yes, sir.
There also we have recommended this. Again, we will recommend directly to CBDT, and in fact, Pritam Kanumuri sir is also attending. So from his side, I will request him to also take it up.
That's right, sir. Next question.
So this is the question on adjustment. In case there is refund due, which is not yet received to the SSC, and the same be adjusted directly to pay the tax under the scheme.
No, sir. No refunds are allowed to be adjusted against the tax payable under this scheme. It's also clarified in the question and answer notification. No refunds due to the SSC will be adjusted against this demand.
repeat the question. The scheme envisages two dates, one being for declaration and other for making payment. Whether the extension up to 30th December is applicable for both the dates.
Sir, actually, I'm also not clear, but see, it says the payment made beyond 31st December will attract the 10% extra. 100% will become 10%. That means the application should have been made quite earlier, and the designated authority has to pass the order the 15 days. And after the 15 days, the 10% that will apply. This issue is mentioned in question number 41 of the question and answers. I'll just read out for your convenience. As per section 5 of the scheme, the DA shall determine the amount payable by the declarant within 15 days from the date of the receipt of the declaration and grant a certificate to the declarant containing the particulars of the tax arrears and the amount payable after such determination. The declarant shall pay the amount so determined within 15 days of the date of receipt of the certificate and intimate the details of such payment to the designated authority in the prescribed form. Thereafter, the DA shall pass an order stating that the declarant has paid the amount. It may be clarified that 15 days is the outer limit. The DA shall be instructed to grant a certificate at an early date, enabling the appellant to pay the amount on or before 31st of March 2020, so that he can take the benefit of reduced payment to settle the dispute. This is only the clarification is issued, sir. So our request is still we have so much of time because of the extension up to 31st of December. Let the assessee not wait till November or December and rush in the last moment for filing. Why should an assessee, so when so much of time is waiting, an assessee wait till 31st of December and file on that date, and then wait for the PCAT to issue form number 3, and again go for litigation whether the 15 days also gets expired by 31st of December and will not attract the 10% extra, or will it attract? So we will get the clarification, but instead of getting the before getting clarification or before when so much of time is available for the assessee, my request is let the assessee file the declarations immediately, so that sufficient time is there for the department also to act and for the assessee also to pay the taxes before 31st of December.
Sir, in this connection, if you permit me, I will share one thing, sir.
Yeah, please.
Actually, the thing is that many people have, or few people have filed already before March.
Yes, sir.
Few people have filed during lockdown period also.
Yes, sir.
Few people are filing now.
Sir.
So it should not result into injustice to anyone.
Yes, sir.
Those persons who will avail the scheme in the month of November, they will be at more advantageous position. If you ask issue certificate now to the persons who have already filed, so can you consider any installment facility for the assessees?
So that we will take up to the higher authorities, sir, and then we can get clarification. But at my level, I can assure you of this. Well, I know this, just note down, because see, many of the income tax offices still they are not functioning. For example, Vijayawada and here Tirupati, right from 22nd of March, they have been closed.
Yeah.
They are not yet open. So wherever the applications have already been filed before 22nd of March, the PCAT or the ring authority is yet to issue a certificate because the offices are not working.
Okay.
Again, it opens within 15 days or whatever, because once the ring authority issues it, he has to pay it by maybe end of July or August or September, whatever.
Okay.
But this clarification which you are requesting is not with me. We will refer to the higher authorities, sir.
Thank you,
But
sir.
already it is we are in July. Now August, September, October, November, December. It's only 5 months.
Yes.
So the money that is will be available in the C is hardly 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
But kindly suggest them to file it the earlier the better, sir.
Yes.
We will also get the clarification.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more supplement into this. Sir, can I supplement to it?
Yeah, please.
Sir, regarding this payment process, can you brief us when this certificate, issuance of certificates is going to begin? For assessees who have already filed.
You have to make a contact the concerned PCET or legal authority wherever their affiliates are filed.
Yeah.
In general, the dates have been extended.
Yeah.
So all dates from after 22nd of March, they are automatically extended.
Okay.
And as just told, many of the offices are not functioning
Solution.
because of the court situation.
Isotonic.
Because life is precious. That somebody has stated death and taxes are inevitable, but at least first let us avoid the first situation and take care of our health, and then ending up income and paying the taxes will take their own course. Let us not risk our lives, be the taxpayers or the tax administrators or the tax practitioners.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Pankaj, proceed with other questions.
Yeah. Take it. Can the order, that is Form 3 passed by the CAT, be modified? Specifically after the assessee complying with the payment of taxes, in withdrawal of appeals, etc. Sir, if the mistake is apparent from the record, the order can be modified. Otherwise, when it is not apparent, nobody can do that. The legal authority does not have an authority.
The question is,
Mr. Banu Narayan Rao, since the date of the scheme have been extended, is there any chance that the date on which the disputes are pending to a later date, like 36/2020? So, as per the Gazette notification, it is not yet extended. But if there is any representation from your side, maybe the board will consider it and put up to the finance ministry. But as on date, it is not extended, sir. And next, Mr. D.V. Subramaniam to everyone. The KVS scheme user admitted, whereas Vivasa Viswas Act speaks about only filed or pending. In such case, where the ratio in the light of KVS scheme can be imported to Vivasa Viswas scheme.
No.
So this is like admitted appeal or filed appeal. I think if I'm not wrong, admitted appeal or SC. On this, I have something to say, like see, when it comes to the High Court, a writ is to be admitted and pending, because generally writ petitions are filed to avoid or bypassing the entire structure of different appellate stages, CET appeals or ITAT or these things. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted. And then the writ is pending. So writ is admitted, and pending. So writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is admitted, and pending. So somebody goes and files a writ, and then the writ is ad for instant justice. So a writ has to be admitted, then only it is eligible under this scheme. But if it is a case of appeal to the High Court, as one can see, when the appeals are filed, it takes time for them to be admitted. Sometimes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years also. So for our scheme, the filing of appeal with the High Court is enough. It need not be admitted. The filing of appeal is enough, need not be admitted when it comes to the High Court. So one can opt for this Vivasa Vishwas scheme. And then when it comes to seat appeals or 80/80, appeal has to be filed. And then whether it is to be valid appeal or not, I have already given you the different citations of Madras High Court and Madhya Pradesh High Court. So you have to try with that, or before that, if the tax bar makes a representation to the CBDT and if the position is clarified regarding continuation of delay and whether appeal has to be valid appeal or not, when one of the state appeals condones the delay, whether it can be treated that the appeal is subsisting as on 31/1/2020 instead of because now the time is there, still 4-5 months time is there. Instead of going for further litigation at a later date, we will also from the department side will try to get proper specific directions from the CBDT, and we also request the tax bar also to make a representation to give clarifications on these issues. I think I have answered the various questions that are that have come up. Mr. Srinath Bandaru says, "Sir, please recommend or advise to board that the tax levied under Section 115 at the rate of 75% to treat them as special case and reduce the taxes calculation at normal rates." But these things you can reply through your taxman association. But from our side, we can only recommend certain things which are not clear.
Sir, can I intervene, sir?
Yeah, please.
In this context, already we have sent recommendations, sir, through department and to directly CBDT also,
Right, sir.
requesting them to consider taxation for additions made under 68 to 69D under tax under 115 BBE, being it is at higher side. So kindly consider that, because that is also disputed tax. So that large number of cases which are disputed for tax under 115 BBE can also avail this scheme. Government have good opportunity to mop up the revenue as they have targeted. That was the request made by us. But so far, I am sorry, there is no response. So let us wait for that. Again, we will represent in this regard.
Yes, we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And as tax administrators, we will follow whatever the board decides.
Thank you. So, Pankaj, any more questions are left? If anyone have any question, kindly raise, because time is very short. We have another 5 minutes. We have to wind up by 12:30. If any other question, you can ask even by unmuting yourself. I have already requested the host to allow that facility of unmuting themselves.
So friends, my final request is that please don't wait till the last moment and again whether time is available or not, that 15 days for payment is falling beyond 31 December and the 10% extra has to be paid or not to be paid without entering into such things. My request is kindly advise your associates to file them well before time so that even the delegate authority has issued the certificate, that is form number 3, and associate will have 15 days time, and that time expires before 31st of December 2020. So let us plan together to reduce the litigation and facilitate the city to have the peace of mind.
Pankaj, all questions are clear?
Yes, sir. All questions. More questions.
I think
The last question, which is
last question is there.
yeah.
last question from Mr. Surya Rao. His query is that whether refunds already adjusted against tax and interest would be considered as payment, and the amount attributable to interest would be refunded. Sir, refunds already adjusted. See, initially in my presentation itself, I have told that disputed tax liability, whether it is fully paid or unpaid, will be considered. Disputed tax liability in the earlier scheme, the disputed tax which was unpaid only was considered. In the present scheme, if you had paid 100% of tax liability which has arisen because of the order of the AO or CET appeals or ITAT, the same thing will be considered, and if you have to get the refund, you will get the refund. For interest up to 244 years.
बस इसमें कौन इन बाजू में उन्होंने बैठा हुआ है क्या कोई?
So
और बाजू में बैठा हुआ कौन है?
मेरे बाजू में तो मेरा एडिशनल कमिश्नर है
Calendar, our Pankaj is also there assisting, sir.
Pankaj is always with me right from the beginning.
Sir,
Yeah.
I think similar questions are repeated regarding 115 BVE. It is highly contested issue. So from our side, we request you to please take it up from your side also. We will also take it up so that large number of disputes could be covered under this scheme for settlement. Many people are waiting for that only. And before we go to final part of this session, sir, I will request you to kindly share some helpline number, locally based helpline number or grievance like that, so that any person who is having any difficulty or any grievance can approach him. It will be a far helpful, very much helpful for the assessees who are opting for this scheme or who have planned to this scheme, opt for this scheme. So I humbly request you to kindly provide that facility to the assessees.
Yeah. So, this principal CC office, there is one post, Joint Commissioner Technical. All technical aspects he will be dealing with it. All technical aspects are dealt by JCT Technical Office of the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, repeat case. His number is, I will communicate to you, sir, the number readily is available. We will communicate to the tax person that number.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Okay, we will circulate.
Technical issues are verified.
We will circulate. We will circulate, sir. So, thank you very much, sir. Before I go for formal Thanksgiving, I would like to remind all the participants that tomorrow also we are having a meeting at 3 p.m. on virtual office establishment, management and benefits to be addressed by our ICI Central Council members, CA Dayanivas Sharma and CA Manu Agarwal from Kanpur, both Central Council members. So kindly join in. We will be opening the meeting room by 2:30. So I request all of you to join in that meeting also. Considering the present situation, it will be of very much helpful and useful to all the practicing fraternity. So with this brief information, again I would like to share with you the upcoming programs. On 1st August, we are having a meeting on appeals drafting, presentation, practical tips to be addressed by C. Abhishek Murli from Chennai, who is Secretary SIRC, ICI. Then on 8th August, we have a meeting on penalties under Income Tax Act to be addressed by R. Subramaniam, C. R. Subramaniam from Bangalore. Then we have got a meeting confirmation consent from CA Tarun Ghia, Central Council member, on RERA and taxation. And just yesterday only we got confirmation from CA Padamchand Khicha from Bangalore, who will be speaking on inheritance laws and taxation. So these are the upcoming programs. Kindly keep tuned to our messages and join in. With this, again I thank Sri Bhupal Reddy Garu. Sir, if any confusion still persists in our mind, I think we are free to reach out to you, and we will not find any problem in clarifying and guiding us. I thank you very much for giving this much of insight and detailed clarifications and sparing your valuable time under these tiring circumstances and time. If any inconvenience caused to you with the presence of Pankaj and ourselves, I regret and apologize for that. I am extremely sorry for that. And I thank all the participants who have joined in this meeting. And if at all till December this scheme is open, I request all the members, if they need any such further meeting, kindly inform us. We will try to again trouble our Bhupal Reddy sir, who I think who will not mind in interacting with us again. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Namaskaram, sir. Namaskaram.
Once again, 168th Income Tax Day greetings to all of you.